Welcome to URA Farm Homestead, the farm that I grew up on and that my husband Larry and I purchased in 1987. Hi, I'm Judy. I encourage you to hit the subscribe button if you have not already done so. Today my subject is growing tomatoes. Not just any tomatoes, but delicious, juicy, organic tomatoes. We have grown tomatoes in our gardens or greenhouses for 30 plus years. They were said to be the best at the farmer's market. Follow along as I share some of the secrets we have learned over the years for growing awesome tomatoes. This was several years ago. I was preparing tomato beds in the greenhouse by mixing in leaves to add organic matter. Here I'm planting tomato plants in the greenhouse. Here all the plants are in the ground and I'm feeding an organic fertilizer mix using a hose-end sprayer. Tomatoes need a balance of macronutrients and micronutrients to grow optimally. Here is a list of organic fertilizers that worked well for us. Sulfate of potash. A deficiency in potassium can severely impact yield and quality of fruit. Epsom salt, which is magnesium sulfate. A magnesium or sulfur deficiency can cause plants to grow small and spindly. Liquid fish fertilizer. It is rich in nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium as well as other minerals. Borax. Borax is boron. If boron is deficient in tomato plants, the uptake of other nutrients is reduced. Maxicrop soluble seaweed powder improves overall plant health and helps prevent diseases. This healthy plant could be taken down in an instant by a hungry black cricket. The cup I placed around the base of the stem kept the crickets from chewing the base of the stem, causing the plant to fall over. Plants that are blooming and beginning to produce fruit. The yellow sticky cards hanging in the back are used to trap and identify pest insects in the greenhouse. I spotted this lizard with a ladybug on him one day in the greenhouse. The lizard and the ladybugs help control pest insects. Tomatoes ripening in the greenhouse. Today we no longer grow greenhouse tomatoes. We do, however, grow plenty of tomatoes in our family garden to eat fresh and for canning. In midsummer it is hard to beat a sandwich made with a fresh, homegrown tomato. Tomato plants and other plants growing under fluorescent lights in our house to get a head start in spring. Tomato plants growing in 5-gallon containers. Tomatoes growing with a stake and weave method and in wire cages. I am picking tomatoes from plants growing in wire cages in one of our past gardens. Tomato plant growing in raised bed with other vegetables. Slicing tomatoes in our home garden. Health Kick tomatoes in our home garden, one of my favorites for canning and fresh eating. Health Kick tomatoes, watermelon, cantaloupe, and cucumbers from our home garden. Slicing tomatoes from our home garden. This is a garden bed I have prepared for tomatoes for this year's garden. Larry gathered leaves and I gathered leaves for the tomato bed. Here I have leaves, bedding from our goat shelter, eggshells, and wood ashes for the tomato bed. I spread a thin layer of wood ashes and eggshells, then added a layer of leaves, followed lastly by a layer of hay bedding from our goat shelters. This bed was prepared in January 2020 and will have time to start decomposition before planting time. These materials will protect the soil, keep in moisture, prevent weed growth, and add nutrients plus organic matter to the soil. This cover will keep the soil cool longer in the spring, so it will be important to pull this cover aside at each spot where a tomato will be planted 2 weeks prior to planting and loosen the soil in the planting hole so the soil can warm. If the soil is too cool, the plants cannot take up nutrients efficiently and will be stunted until the soil warms sufficiently. We use our tomatoes when we can homemade chili. Also, when we can homemade spaghetti sauce. Commercial tomatoes grown with chemical fertilizer, herbicides, pesticides, and fungicides that are picked green and gassed to ripen have absolutely no comparison to a good homegrown tomato. Reason enough to grow your own or find a local organic farmer who does. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. Happy cooking and gardening!